Michael and Linda looked at each other across the table. The young couple was happy because the food was great. The candles gave off soft light, and the music was right. Michael looked at Linda's lovely smile. He no longer felt the pain of his last breakup, and he no longer had any worries or doubts about love. He put out his hand and touched hers. "There's something I need to ask you." Michael looked into her eyes. Could she guess what was going to happen? He felt brave when she smiled at him. She grabbed his hand. "Don't be afraid. I'm likely to say yes, no matter what it is." He was so happy. He was going to ask the most critical question of his life. A strange man stood in the corner of the restaurant and watched them. He did not move at all while sitting at his table. He had a menu in his hand, but wasn't reading it. He only looked at the young couple with his cold eyes. Back at the table, Michael felt tense all of a sudden. He told Linda, "Excuse me." He moved his chair back and went to the toilet. He said, "Come on, Michael, come on," as he looked in the mirror. "Mate, you can do this. She's crazy about you." He left the bathroom when he was ready. The tall man waiting by the door was right in front of him. The man had cold, bright blue eyes, thin, pale lips, and a very sharp and pointy nose. Michael said, "Oh, I'm sorry." The man hissed, "Which one?" His voice was very different and strong, and Michael had never heard that accent before. Michael didn't understand for a moment. He then understood what the other man meant. "Oh, this one," said Michael, being helpful. "This is the toilet for men." Michael went back into the lounge. He reached into his pocket for the ring in a box. It was time to ask her. The cab ride home was excellent. The happy couple talked about their plans for the future and expressed their feelings for each other. Michael said, "The night I asked you to marry me." She said, "The night I said yes. Just think, our whole lives together," he said. "Sharing, caring," he put in. "Loving and giving." Linda finished what he said. They smiled at each other with love and happiness. Michael told her, "You are so great." Linda told her, "And you're so beautiful. I've never met someone so nice and lovely. I'm so glad I could sing." They walked into their apartment building holding hands. From behind, a tall man watched them. He asked himself, which one? He looked at the building. He wasn't sure which flat was theirs because the light wasn't on yet. After 1 minute, 2 minutes, and there it was. A light turned on in a window on the 3rd floor. He saw Linda for a short time as she shut the blinds. How often did he stand like this on a corner? How many people had he seen die? A lot of turns. "A lot of victims!" He smiled slightly with his pale lips. He came out from behind the door and hit the buttons for each flat. The vampire liked it best when people lived in apartments. Someone will always let you in at some point. Stupid people. They thought you were a pizza delivery person. He only needed that as an offer to get into a house. After taking the stairs to the 3rd floor, he went down the hall. He didn't say anything. He could hear the 2 young people talking and laughing. He leaned against the door and listened. They could be heard, and he was glad about that. Love at a young age made the best blood. It was so lively and full of life. She said, "I feel like I'm in a movie." He said, "More like a dream." Yes, a dream. "We're so lucky. Guess who I'm going to dream about tonight?" he asked. Who? Who? Her hair has a rose scent. She looks like an angel. The vampire thought it looked like their dream was going to turn into a nightmare. He opened the door suddenly and stood there, showing his sharp teeth. The two people screamed and then held each other in fear. The vampire could taste and smell their fear. He liked it this way. Fear made the blood taste better, too. "There it is, my wallet." "There on the table." Michael said, "Take it." "Take whatever you want," the person said. "I will take whatever I want," the vampire answered. "All right. Okay, I promise we won't stop you," Michael cried. "You can't stop me." "This is what I promise," the vampire said. The teeth were very sharp because of the light. The two of them had the same terrible thought at the same time. "Look at those teeth. Is he—" "It was a monster." "What kind of one?" asked the vampire. "There can be only one." They looked scared and had big eyes. Their lips are wide open in shock. They were frightened and held each other's hands through it. "All ready tonight," the vampire said. "I've been drunk since 3. One more, and I'll be able to sleep and feel young again." A vampire was coming towards them. Michael stepped in front of Linda to protect her when he felt fear. Linda held on to his back and thanked him. The vampire wasn't in a hurry. He had a lot of time. He asked himself, who should he attack? Which one? Linda said in Michael's ear, "Thank you for what you're doing for me." "Of course, my love. I'm here to keep you safe." He was proud as he spoke. This vampire was no match for him. His only need was something to push through the heart, like a piece of wood. He looked for something. Linda went on, "You're so brave to offer yourself." Michael asked, "Sorry?" "How could you say that?" And Linda said, "Oh, I just thought that with all your love for me." The vampire and Michael looked at each other. "Now pay attention, Linda. There is no doubt that I love you," he said. "Really?" she asked. She didn't believe him. "But you can't expect me to give him my life," he said. "I didn't say you should," she replied. "That's just one of our choices." "Well, come up with another one," he yelled. "Why don't you save me by giving yourself to him?" Things were getting terrible in that room. The vampire didn't like the fear and love turning into pointless, selfish fights. Linda was angry. "Please tell me you're not serious. Let's test how strong your love is. What a terrible man. What about the woman I was going to marry? You're giving me to a vampire like a dog a bone," she cried. "You said my hair smells like roses." Okay, breathe. The fact that Michael was arguing with a stranger made him feel a little wrong. She kept yelling, "You said I was an angel." The vampire yelled angrily, "Must drink," as he got closer. He was eager to kill quickly. He could then get away from these awful people right away. He bared his teeth and opened his eyes wider. Which one? Her! He pointed at the woman he was going to marry. Cindy yelled, "Him! Him!" in her spleen. "Please, him!" The vampire came up to Michael. "She's younger." "That's better," said Michael. The vampire looked at Linda. "He's bigger. There's more of him." Michael was in her sights. The vampire felt tired all of a sudden. He had been killing for a very long time. It was sad to listen to them. How could drinking the blood of either of these gross animals make him feel good? He yelled, "Bad blood!" as he looked down at their scared faces.
Don't forget to like and done in the comment.